Does that count down? Oh, it's recording. Okay.
I guess it goes right into it. All right, so
Sweet.
this is with StreamYard. The first episode we did was with Riverside. So
Yes.
we're putting our money where our mouth is and testing out a whole bunch of stuff and seeing what works.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, welcome to DoubleCommaDreams. Thank you for tuning in. If you tune in, if not, just find us. The second episode's a little weird because the first one we were like confident going into, and we're like, "Hey, this is our game plan." This one we're like, "All right, we got to be a little bit more creative with what we're doing and a little bit more purposeful." And I think we've come up with a good topic. Really, last week was creating consistent content, and this week is creating both quality and consistent content. So I've been working on that some this week. I think, have you been working on that, TJ?
Yeah, a little bit. No, I created one post and I spent probably like an entire day on it. And I was like, this might be a good topic. I think I used the words unique content, but yeah, quality content is kind of in the same boat.
Yeah. So what did that post consist of? Like, what made it quality for you?
So the thing that I realized that I did different with that post versus all the ones that I have bought before, or even other ones that I have written, are that I actually did something like in the real world. So in this example, I created these little hydroponic mason jars. I wish I had one around here I could like pick up and show, but basically in a mason jar, you can turn it into like a pot where you grow hydroponic plants. So you can do lettuce, basil. There's all kinds of things you can grow. And you've got to do special stuff with the nutrients, and you've got to spray paint it black. And anyways, when I was creating this post, I was like, I took like 15 pictures. I did like 3 different ways to do something. So you could paint this thing with spray paint, you could paint it with regular paint, you could put paper around it. And like I did all of those myself to see which one worked best. And by actually doing them, I can't like you wouldn't have been able to go to someone else's website and rehash it in your own words. So like by actually doing it myself, I was able to be like, oh, the painting one took like 10 minutes to do. And I had to put like 2 or 3 coats on for it to the light to not get into the jar. Where the spray one took like 3 minutes, and it only took 1 coat. And it's like I actually went out there and got that paint and tested both of those, so I was able to add in like my unique comments of like actually going through and doing it. And I feel like that made the post feel like it wasn't just like written. And actually, one thing I did was the main keyword of what I was wanting to aim for. I like typed that into Google and saw the competitors, and the top one had like 500 words and no pictures. Another one had like 800 words, and they weren't like guides or tutorials. Like going through the process of actually making this tutorial and like sharing the process of what I was doing and like what worked and what didn't in like an article form. I was like, man, this is like definitely unique. Like there's the other people on this keyword are not doing this. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, so it's like you found this little niche that needs your help. Are there a lot of the other keywords like that, or is it just that keyword? Like, are a lot of other sites ranking for the same stuff but not doing the best?
Yeah, I found a lot of the larger sites. What they do is probably very similar to what I'm doing in like the dog niche, is where it looks like they just went out and bought an article, and what that means is like the people that they're buying it from are just hiring their writers to go through and like look at the 10 links on Google and read them all, and then basically summarize that. So where it's not unique, it's just a summary. It's still value because you don't have to go through all 10 links and get the idea, but it's not unique. So I just thought that was really interesting in terms of what I was coming up with versus what the other like competitors were coming up with. And it was like by the end of that full day that I was like painting them and like putting, I had to make a specific adapter for I don't have it with me, otherwise I would show you. I had to make like a specific adapter. So what I grew the plants in would fit inside the mason jar instead of just like falling through. And I found that the other posts weren't like doing anything like that. It was just summaries. So it's like when someone lands on the page that I created, it's going to be a lot more valuable than any of the other pages that are out there.
So did you create a video? I think we talked. Did you create a video for it, or did you not go with the video?
I haven't yet. It's going to be really easy. Like I could just turn on the camera and talk for 5 or 7 minutes and explain what I did. And that's going to be like I was explaining earlier, I can be like, I painted this one, look at it. It didn't turn out very good. And I spray painted this one and look at it. It looks so much better. It only took 2 or 3 minutes to do each mason jar. So I think it'll be really easy to make that content. But yeah, I haven't made that video yet, just the article.
Okay. Yeah, that'd make it really good if you had the descriptive and the step-by-step and then also a video on top. Google would love you.
Yeah,
I think this is the guy.
the same on YouTube, because YouTube is like a huge search engine. When someone types in mason jar hydroponics, they're going to be able to find that video on YouTube as well. And I can cross link them to where the YouTube is on the article page, and the article links. I think I said that backwards. So the article has the YouTube video, and then the YouTube video links to the article. That's my plan, anyways.
YouTube. I need to figure out how to do that because YouTube would love that. That's what I was thinking when we were doing our cooperative niche. Like, we need to figure out how to find similarities in that where we enjoy it, because there's such good opportunity there too for creating quality content. Yeah, that's what. So last week we talked about consistency. So just getting an article out if you can. Something I've been working on is I have that baseline of like, I know what an article is, and like the sense of like what a baseline article is, like 1,000 words, 2 photos. Like, over this week, I got kind of bored with that. I was like, okay, like I could do this for the next 6 months, but I don't feel anything from that. Like, how can I make an article better so that what I'm producing is at that next level all the time, instead of just my highest level being down here now.
That makes
sense.
So
it's like, how can you make your content where it's always coming out good? Like, that's what you're coming up with all the time.
So it sounds like you've maybe nailed that, like the KPI of word count. So you've been able to produce 1,000 words a day for a decent amount of time. And now you're like, what can I do instead of adding 500 extra words? What can I do that's extra that just makes the page better? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. So what you mentioned is like summarizing, like I've just been trying to hit keywords. I'm like, so just 1,000 of everything I can find. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. And I do want to do that, but it's like, I also want to put more effort into it because I do really enjoy the site. And like, it's something I'm proud of and I want to be proud of. So like, I know in the long run, if I can produce the same amount of content, but better, that Google will like it quicker. So like, instead of just listing out all these things, like put in quotes, like call some people, like something that might take a couple extra minutes, and then just add that extra effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and doing this was really eye-opening for me as well on my other projects. It's like some of the content I'm putting out, like I mentioned, the dog one, that stuff could really be easily beaten by someone who just did what I did, but in that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I got some big holes that I need to go fill over there.
And then, so since you're hiring that out, are you going to create a new system for the people, or you can be like, hey, can you incorporate these type of things? Like, yeah, so how do you control that now? Or do you just go back and add it in yourself?
Yeah, so actually you kind of inspired this method, and I'll let you share on it if you want to, but what I was going to do is I was going to like basically keep hiring those articles, but what I was going to do is hire someone else to come through and edit them, and then do like written by this, but then edited by someone who actually, in the example of the dog niche, it's going to be like someone who actually owns a Great Dane or a German Shepherd. That way they actually, like, the information on the page is true, and it's actually has, like, I'm not just going to hire them just to edit. I'm going to hire them to like actually add in like stories about, make it a little more personal. I think that'd be like a great edge to add to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with my site. Is still need to figure out how to add the fact check thing where it actually, they can incorporate their own fact checking. But yeah, where it's like written by me or one of the people that will write for the site, and then fact checked by someone who's actually an expert in the field, and be like, change this a little bit, like this actually works better. And those links will be great for Google, seeing that like you have people checking it and all these links going in and out.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to take a while and quite a bit of effort to like actually get that process set up. But once I feel like I have one person, I feel like it'll be a lot easier to one person. Like once you figure out how to have the fact checker of someone who owns a Great Dane, it'll be really easy to like copy and paste that to someone who owns a German Shepherd, someone who owns a Beagle, among all these other different, like, scaling it out.
Yeah. I was also thinking, how has your analytics been this week? Has it been growing, or has it been we can do the dog site. How's the dog site been?
The dog site has been kind of level. I added a whole bunch of posts last week. I think it's just going to take like a couple months for those to start ranking. One thing I will share, actually, I'm going to show 2 things real quick. Hopefully on this camera, it's not like really crazy. So I realize a decent, let's see. That may not work. So
there you go.
Is it backwards?
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. I can actually fix this. Is that better?
Yeah, technically, yeah, you're good.
All right. So see, hold on 1 second. See how one of these is the search results? That's like just organic traffic, and it's like slowly been going up. You can see it there, just barely going up.
Oh yeah,
This
and the
one,
Discover.
yeah, this one's discovered. It's like half of, or I guess a third of the traffic. And it's like some days it just spikes up and then it goes back down. And I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know if I have control over that, like based on the type of content I'm publishing or the frequency, or like, is it because I updated an old post? And that's something I want to look into. A third of my traffic, I have no idea whether I have control over it or not.
How's
I'll go
keep
ahead.
going, sorry. How are you, is it just you just randomly got onto Discover and now it's kicking? Like how are you controlling that in a little bit?
Yeah, so I actually purchased that website. So it was already getting traffic from Discover, but I will say that
Mm.
the larger website that I have, something that I did that recently changed, was I increased the page speed score. So I just went through and like you just run tests and you're like, oh, this thing is causing a big issue that's causing it to slow down, or this thing's causing it an issue to slow down, and you just fix those slowly by like little by little. And it finally started getting 90 plus, where it started passing the page speed on mobile. And this is the larger website. It it had it had a huge traffic spike, like it went way up. But was it really interesting? You can see there's like 500,000. That's really exciting to me, by the way. You can see like it just goes over and then it does a huge spike up. Uh, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Discover thing, you can see it's starting to go up just a little bit too. Like there was basically no traffic from Discover, and then all of a sudden there is like a big spike, 8,000, 9,000 clicks from Discover. And so the only thing that I've really realized with that is that I've got my page speed score above 90, and then it started appearing in Discover. So that's the only thing I can think of that may help it.
I wonder if there's certain topics that go into Discover and certain topics that don't. I'm interested in that.
Yeah,
Or if
like
everything goes into, I'll have to look into that.
I guess I don't want to reveal the URL, but I can go into this Discover thing and it tells you which are, like, it's usually one or two that gets all the traffic. It's not like it's evenly distributed.
Sorry, I did not sleep well last night. I keep
No
yawning.
worries. No worries. But
I'm
yeah,
not getting bored by you.
the in terms of the search traffic, like from Google, not Discover, you can see how it like just spikes way up and then comes down. And I have no idea what caused that. I looked into it, and it's actually one keyword that I got no traffic for, and then out of the blue, like I think one day was 30,000 people searched it and then clicked on that link, which like I have no idea what caused that.
Wow. Yeah, mine's been good. It's very steady increase. So I think last time we talked, I was getting like 7 impressions per day, but now I'm getting like 15 to 16. So very slow, but we're also growing. More impressions, not many more clicks, but we'll get there. I only have actually technically 16 keywords or 16 queries right now.
Yeah, that's
So-
not bad. Speaking of that, we can talk a little bit about how, I guess what we can touch on is how last week was, which we were focusing on writing consistently. So I have the numbers of how much I wrote last week. I did not hit my goal of 7,000 words, which would be 1,000 words each day. I got almost 6,000 between 4 different articles, and not those weren't all on the hydroponic, that among different projects.
Let's see what I got.
Are you using that WP word counter plugin?
Yeah, how do you find the weekly?
1 second here, I'll pull it up. Maybe. If I'm logged in. By the way, this the plugin that he's talking about is one I found a while ago that's been super helpful. Basically, it's a plugin that you install, and then you like click on this little tab that says statistics. You click on it, and it tells you the total word count on all your articles. You can sort it by author. You can sort it by month, so you can see like last month did I write 30,000 words, and then this month you can see how many you wrote to see if you're going to try to like beat that goal. You can look back like all the way back in time, like the months that you wrote the most, the months you did not write much. And I found that to be like really helpful in terms of motivating me and like moving forward. Like, oh, there's only 3,000 words added this month. I'd like to pump that up a little bit and just see.
How many words have you added this month?
It's Among all those sites?
Oh no, just I'm at 11,000 right now for the current month. Last month I was at 3,400, so we're kicking.
Yeah,
Next month I
that's
want to
really
get
good.
to 30K.
That would be around. Is there an average of how many you have per post? Is that around 1,000? So 30
It's probably
articles?
about 1,000, so one a day. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that is
But
a
I
ton of
also,
content.
so I definitely missed my goal. There's 2 days I didn't write. Um, I definitely spent some time designing the site, which I probably should have focused on both. But I really enjoyed just sitting back and like, because I used a template for the site, so like going back and making the site like a little bit mine this time, like this is what I actually want it to look like instead of just like I'm just putting content on. Let's see if the content hits. Like I know the content's hitting now. It's like okay, I just wanted to break up the monotony a little bit and just mess with design and see where I wanted to go. Like I had some ideas the past couple weeks, and it's just been trying to implement those now over the design.
Yeah, speaking on that, the hydroponic website, I mentioned that I technically have 2 articles written for it. One of them I did, it took a whole day, and the other one I've been writing on here and there. I don't actually have that website up and going yet. Right now, those are just Google Docs that I plan. But I think what I'm going to do is wait until I have 5, and then when I have 5, set up the website. Really basic theme. I don't want to spend like 3 or 4 hours designing it right off the bat. I want to get it up, make it a little unique so that it's not like the privacy policy isn't the exact same as every other privacy policy out there, or the homepage. Just a few things that Google's like, hey, this isn't just like a copy and pasted uh, website. And then I want to upload those 5 articles once I have them, and then from there on out, I won't use Google Docs anymore. I'll just upload them straight to the back end of WordPress.
Yeah, I need to. I was thinking about making a video on DoubleCommaDreams about this, how to make custom images for um blog post because there's not a lot of resources. So I was thinking about doing that this week potentially, like
Yeah,
recording a quick video.
that'd be really helpful. The only time I've ever had custom images have been when I hired an artist to draw something, which is usually me telling them, "Hey, this is exactly how I want it done," or I like draw out what I want to be created. It's usually not good at all, and then they make it look better. Or pictures that I have taken, which through this process of the hydroponic blog thing that I'm setting up, it's like I didn't realize when you take a picture with your phone, it's like 8K, and you don't want to upload 8K images to your because it's too large of a file. So like I'm gonna have to put them into Photoshop. I'm gonna have to crop them down, and then I'm gonna have to like convert them so that they're basically less pixels, but the same amount. Like you can still tell what's in the picture. So just like going back through that, I've never really taken custom pictures for a blog before, and that whole process is like it's not super simple. It's not like just like take a picture and upload it. You've got to there's some things in the middle. So yeah, I would love if you had. I've seen some of this stuff on your website. I would love to learn to create. I don't know if you'd call them. They're not really infographics.
No,
Uh,
yeah.
illustrations like you have. I would love to know how to create stuff like that. Um,
Some
I,
something else I've been thinking about quality is like how can we like what are components of quality within an article? Like I'm going back, my next article I'm writing, I'm going to add quotes, and it's like if I can't get a quote from somebody, can I pull a quote from Reddit and then re-summarize it a little bit into my own quote? Like, is that ethical to like make a quote that's not technically a quote to say it's a quote?
I think you can definitely cite them. That's definitely an okay thing to do. But yeah, if you want it, I know that there are definitely people out there who, and we actually discovered this among one of your competitors, that create fake author pages to make it
I,
look like they're ran by multiple people.
so you said that was fake. I thought it was real. Like, what did you see that made it fake? Like, what was your thought? You don't have
All
to
right,
say who it was, but
I wish I could share. So if you look at their face pictures or whatever, right?
yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna try to see if I can find the domain. Um,
I'm on it now.
Um, and if you look at their faces are actually all the same. Like the amount of pixels that go from their forehead up to the top of the picture, and that really signals to me that it probably was AI generated. You can go to like AI. You just Google AI face generator, and you can have thousands of faces generated off the fly. And then also, if you look at their bios, you know that they're real people if they have links to their Twitter account, their LinkedIn account, and stuff like that. But their bios don't have any links like that. They just have some
Their
names of like,
email.
yeah, and the email is really like, it's not like their custom email. It's like blah 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 at the specific domain.com. Like you can just create that and then nobody else can check it. So it just signals to me like that it may be a little sketchy. They may have just came up with those, at least from the like quick investigation that I did that I came up with.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna have to
interested. They posted one article in May, and it's already on the first page of the search query, which I just wrote about. So
Another thing that I noticed is if you go through each one of those authors, one author wrote all the posts, and then there's the four other authors, and none of those four other authors have like it says have articles attributed to their account, so that looks sketchy as well.
interesting. Well, I didn't look that deep. I was just like, all right, here's another competitor.
I was like, man, people really are doing this, so I dug into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I wonder who it is. I wonder if I could buy their site. Their domain rating is amazing. It's not amazing, but it's 41. Like I would take a 41 domain rating at this point.
I gotta find the URL now. I think you sent it to me in like the middle of the night.
It's I without telling you.
I found it.
Okay.
The .org too. You see what I mean though? That all the pictures and like how the backgrounds are blurred. That's another thing in like AI pictures. Sometimes it's really hard to get that in real pictures. But these are all blurred and they're not the same. So if they did it like a studio, they'd all be the same blur. But these are not blurred. In fact, you could probably
actually these do all look fake. They all look the same now that I think about it. Just different faces.
See what I mean? I noticed that right off the bat. And the only reason I noticed it is because I had used that AI face generator before. I saw a YouTube video on it and I was like, man, there's no way these just come up with randomly. And you can just go to the program and like click a button and it pops someone up. And I think maybe you can even select male, female, age, and a bunch of other stuff to like come up with a face that you want. But yeah, it looks like they just came up with a bunch of old men.
I will say whoever made this is smart. It's a good website.
And they're also all these images are 150 pixels by 150 pixels.
So they just started posting last year, and they only have 14 posts. I wonder if I could buy their site.
You could probably reach out and see what they're up to. Maybe even like get on a call with them or something.
Because they only have 14 posts in the last year. 3/10/2021 was their first.
I really want to share this on the. I wish I could. I don't want to get in legal trouble for sharing the URL and saying a bunch of bad stuff about it. But their traffic graph on Ahrefs looks like this.
It's like
it goes and it slowly goes up and it peaks and then it's like.
I don't know why it does that.
I know. I wonder if they have any 301 redirects. Like maybe it was an old site that they just pointed to a new site. But there's still content up, so that doesn't really make sense. I will say if you on Ahrefs, if you go to their traffic. And you sort by the top posts, it shows all the URLs that they rank for. A bunch of them show there's like, hold on 1 second.
They have 1.9K keywords, 7K backlinks.
Yeah, so if you go to their like domain name / sitemap.xml, which is a great way to see all like snipe posts, you can see what other keywords other blogs have written about. You can see that they have 14 URLs. Which basically means they have 14 posts. But if you go to Ahrefs, it says they have 90 posts. And when you look into it, you realize some of them are on the main domain and then / like the post name. And some of them are on the main domain / blog / the post name. So it's like almost like they have two different blogs. And that may be where the traffic is all wonky.
Yeah, because it's really interesting. Yeah, because they went from... In March, we're just rambling now. You guys are just along for the ride. In March, they went from 29K traffic to 5K. Like, that's when all their keywords dropped down too. It's like they deleted everything.
Yeah, that's weird. One thing I will notice is all the posts on the regular like .com/post name, all the posts are written by one person, and then you go to the domain name /blog/ and then the post name, it's written by someone else. So that's interesting. It's almost like they tried to migrate it with new content or something and like made an error. I have, I think, 2 more things that I want to talk about on this podcast.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So in the past, I've purchased content from Passion Posts. I've actually purchased content from a few other places. But last week, I purchased $500 of content from a place called Hands Off Publishing. I am really excited to see how it comes out because I've seen one article that they've sent me, and it looks like really good content. They didn't optimize for a snippet, but they did add in 3 custom images and like a featured image. It's an image that they made by adding text and stuff. And I'm really excited about that because that is much better, and it's around the same price as Passion Post, but it's much better than just text. I've noticed on the dog blog, the posts with images, like at least 3 images, do way better than the ones with just text. And not only that, I'm also testing that in the future. Like I'm probably going to upload like 30 articles with just text and another 30 with text and images, and then go back in like 6 months and see which one does better. But I really like the idea of like paying them. I think it's like half a penny more per word for them to add 3 images, add a featured image, and then also upload it so I don't have to upload it at all. So I'm really excited. I spent $500 on this, but moving forward, if they do a good job, I'll probably like maybe do a couple thousand words per month of just to see how it goes long term.
Do you order per word with them? Hands Off Publishing?
I believe so. I think they have so if I were to do it, they have a monthly thing. So each month you can order so much, and then you do it for like 3 months or 6 months, and they give you a discount. And that's probably what I would do.
So for $600, you would get 10 1,000 word articles?
Yeah, I think so. Although if you want to, they let you. They're like, if instead of having 10 articles that are 1,000 words, you could set it up to where there's 5 articles with 2,000 words. You could probably tell them 1 article with 10,000 words, but I don't know if that'd be best for SEO.
Yeah, you can order 1,000 posts at 1,000,000 words.
That'd be a lot of money.
Let's see. 10% off of it. They're going to start emailing me. Watch this.
You put your email in?
So for 1,000,000 words, 1,000 posts, it's $34K.
All right, so hold on one second. That actually really interests me because my main blog right now that's making like $7,000 a month has just over 1,000,000 words, like 1,014,000. So that means theoretically I could copy the same amount of content for, what was it, 34 grand?
Yeah.
And be making $7,000 a month, which obviously that doesn't work perfectly because the website that I worked on has much more custom content. It has custom illustrations, a bunch of backlinks that I've worked for. So it's not an exact thing, but man, if I had the budget, it would be amazing to take. It'd be a great experiment to take 34 grand, just put it into basically the same niche, and then see what happens in like the next 2 years.
Imagine tossing 1,000,000 words onto a website.
I know there are some AI generated websites that have like 1 million, 10 million. They just can pump out all kinds of content, which actually I think that's what the helpful content update is like. They're really good at finding that and just being like, you're not ranking anymore. I've seen some Ahrefs traffic graphs that go up to like 300,000 page views a month, and then like Google just like blacklists their URL. But yeah, that I'm really excited in the future to see how these posts come out and if I continue to go with them as a content provider.
Yeah, I'm interested too. Because, like, man, even ordering 100 posts. Yeah, I'm going to look into this more now too. Because though writing every day is fun, it'd be nice just to have that extra content on there.
As
yeah,
keep
going. 100 posts. They do topic research. They find you the keywords. They make your custom images. That's $4,000. for 100,000 words.
Dang.
That's worth it.
What tell me about the content providers and your content journey. Like, are you gonna wait 6 months? Are you gonna wait until you receive your like first that you get monetized? Is there a certain milestone that you're waiting for before you start buying content, or do you plan to do that in the future?
I think once I get 50 posts on my current subject, I think I'm gonna buy 100. Like I'll probably spend $5,000 because I have extra cash coming in from other things that will be able to be spent on it, and I know it'll jump up quicker if it has that boost of content. Like the more content, the more access you have to more people clicking, and then I'll just put 50 articles on one spot and then 50 onto another subcategory.
That'll be really exciting because then by the end of that, you'll have 150 posts. And that's like, once you get past 100 posts, it's like you've got a pretty decently sized website. Like past 100, you can just let it sit and you'll probably, you can definitely get on a Zoic. There's no requirement for a Zoic, but past 100, if they're good keywords, like you can let it sit for a year and then try for Mediavine, which I think
Yeah.
is 50,000 page or sessions a month.
Yeah, and it's just I just really want quality content because I know that's what's going to boost me up, especially in this niche. Like I can win these keywords without quality content if I'm honest, but like I know quality content's going to make it even better. Like it's going to put that gap between me and people trying to come to me.
So
So
what does that look like in terms of the first 50 posts that you come up with, and then also the 100 posts that you plan on buying? How are you gonna, instead of just putting them up like I am with the dog website? Now I've come up with some ideas. Now, what are you going to do to make sure that they're also quality?
I think a good thing. So if I can get these 50 posts monetized, where just a little bit of money is coming out, I think hiring an assistant, like a writing assistant, to just go through, um, add authentic stories, and then just be a lot more personable. Because that's what this niche really needs is this more personable conversationalist. So just having someone go through, if that's not me or whoever's with me, and just go through and add images and then add and make it where it's a lot more seamless.
Are you gonna ask the assistant or someone to like go through and call? I don't want to out your niche, but I feel like
It's
you could.
really it's really difficult in what I'm working on right now to call and ask questions because time's money and like there's a lot with that. So
Jeez.
it's some of these other subcategories I have planned, like it'll be a lot easier. In this one it's a little bit more difficult, but I have experience in this one, so that's why I started with it.
Yeah, I think that was great. Is there something maybe you could do that you could like get on Reddit and or a subreddit and ask questions and then take those answers that you get and turn it into like an infographic or something so that it like
That's where I get all my topics for these. Is I'm in this Reddit thread and they ask questions every single day, and I'm like, well, that's my article tomorrow. Like,
I think that's a great way for like keyword research because if people are asking for it, then like they definitely they're looking for an answer. And if they're on Reddit, it's like they probably have already looked on Google.
and then I usually
That's
summarize
genius.
what the person said in a different way. So it's
The
just
Reddit trick is genius.
trying to upgrade articles. But we'll get there slowly but surely. This I don't think this episode's going to be very long. We don't really. We'll have to plan better for next one. We'll have to think on it a little bit better.
Yeah, I wrote down a few things to cover, and we went through them pretty quick. There's one last thing I wanted to cover, at least on the term that are like on the script of things I wanted to cover, was the process of moving domains on a Zoic. So I have one. I'm trying to get better about like where I move my hands and so they're not off screen. But I have
The
one.
camera's technically backwards still, I believe, but it doesn't look bad.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I can flip it back.
You're fine.
So right now I have one website that's monetized with the Zoic, and I'm moving it over to a new domain for multiple reasons. One of which is I bought a domain, like it's much more memorable. It's shorter, less words in it, and I want to move all my content and the monetization obviously over to that new domain. And it's been kind of a tricky process of doing that. So first I have to convince Zoic, like you have to approve this website, and they didn't really want to do that, at least in terms of like the work I had to do to get them to approve it. And then finally, through some emails, I got them to approve it. And now I have to get Google to approve it, which for some reason Google denied it. They denied it. It was already denied. And then I reapplied because I was like, the website's up and going, and there's the header and footer and stuff like that. It's a normal website. And I applied again, but I got denied like I think like a couple hours later, which I thought was really weird. But I went into the source code of the website, and I realized I think I had an issue with my caching plugin. And I redid the cache or whatever. You can reset that, and like trash what is in the cache, and then like so it loads new. And I redid that, and the code on the page like refreshed. It looked way different. So it's like I wonder if it was a caching issue. So I refreshed my cache, and then now I've redeployed, and now I'm just waiting to hear back from Google. So hopefully in the next 24 hours I'll get to know whether or not I am actually able to switch over to the new domain. I'm really excited about it. The actually Nico was the one that actually created the theme for this domain, and it looks so much better than the old one.
It still needs a little bit. I would probably go back in and redo a couple things, but it does look really good. I think it looks really nice.
And the user experience of like navigating the site is way better. The first website, the one that I bought, it was designed for people to type something into Google, find it, and then leave. And now I've set it up a little bit more to where it's like silos of different dogs, of different content, and better sidebars and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about the switch. I'm interested to see when it actually switches over, if like the time on page or the exit or bounce rate, I think is what they call it, changes. It's going to be really interesting to me.
That's something I've been really intrigued in, and it's a thought that's in the back of my mind as I'm going, but like I want to keep it there a little bit. Is like you hear about people that are like, yeah, I just put content on, it ranks, it gets clicks. It's like, how can I go a step above that where they come onto the site and they want to stay on the site and they want to look around and they want to click on other things? Like, I feel like that's where real impact and real like clicks come from. Is like people like using your site instead of just, oh, I clicked on this one, I'm done. Like, why don't they click onto other articles and try to read them? Like, why are they going through only the top 10 of Google?
Yeah, and if you can, you know how there's different traffic sources in your analytics. So like there's search traffic, social media traffic, referral traffic, and direct traffic. And direct traffic is like someone just straight up went to your domain.com and then loaded it up. It's like if you can get most people doing that, it's because they love the repeat visitors. They love what you have, and they know like. So my goal is like I want the name of the domain that I'm switching to be like a brand name. Like people think of it like if they have a question about their German Shepherd, I want them to be like the name of the domain that I just bought, and like German Shepherd has an issue barking or something like that. And then so that's how I want to kind of brand that domain name. So that's kind of my goal with it. It's definitely going to be like a long-term 2 or 3 year project before like anything is starting. The name starts getting, you start hearing the name. But that's at least my goal with it.
Yeah, and that could be a conversation for another episode too. Is because like, do you run like some small little ads so like they always keep seeing it, or do you like sponsor a YouTube video? Like, how do you? Because like to create that brand name in it, like I've had some creators where I've watched their videos and I'm like, okay, I know this brand now. Like, I would go to the brand, and it's like, do you do that for a blog? Like, is that the next step from like just getting nice ad and affiliate income to like taking that and being like, okay, this is a brand now. How do we make it 10x, 100x? Like
that's really interesting. I feel like to scale that advertisement model, you'd have to have some form of revenue model that is more than just display ads. So you have to like launch your own product or a membership service or something like that. But yeah, you've got me thinking about that now.
Because with this, you could white label some stuff and just like,
oh yeah, because it's dogs, so I could do like dog food or like toys. That's a really good idea.
Or like work with a company and like have your own quote unquote dog food. I can't say the brand name, but instead of the last word being what it is, put health, and that'll be the name of the dog food.
I like these ideas.
We're talking in strategic.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all I had for today. Hopefully it might not help people, but it's more just us having conversations, and if it curates some type of thought in another person, then that's what it is, and it's keeping us accountable. So I enjoyed these episodes, these videos.
Yeah, so that was my main goal with these, is to share what I did this week and to hear what you did the last, or I guess in the week before, to hold us accountable. And so there was definitely, I guess it has definitely served its purpose, because there were some times last week that I did not want to write, and you were like, hey, have you written? And I was like, well, shoot, no, I haven't. And you're like, just write 500 words. And then I finally got the laptop out, and I mean, once you start, it's pretty easy to go from 500 to 750 and then up to 1,000. So
I've always heard I've always heard people say that like action creates more action, and you're like, okay, whatever. But it's so true. Once you get started just a little bit, you're like, all right, I got another idea. Got another idea. Let me keep writing this down. And you're like, well, crap. And then you do it for 3 weeks, and you're like, I'm just gotta go back and keep writing. Like you have that confidence,
Yeah,
which
and you
we
can look
talked about
back
in the
and you can look back and see 3 weeks of content and you're like, holy moly, I'm really like, I can't believe I wrote all this. I wouldn't be able to write all this in one day, but in like 3 weeks or a month, this is a decent portion of content.
yeah, and seeing it start to rank is a motivating factor. Just knowing the more you put on this, the more you'll get. So
Are you saying that maybe a little bit of your motivation is numbers?
uh kind of. My motivation is I know the more articles I have, the more impressions and more clicks I'll get. So it's like just get more articles.
So the middleman is the numbers, the analytics, and that is kind of motivating to you, but what's really motivating to you is what the analytics means, which means that your content is helping someone. Is that a better way to put it?
Yeah. I'm more, as we talked about in the consistency video, I'm more the heart person. I want to help someone. And
I feel like they're both the same things, the analytics and the people. It's just you can focus on one or the other and see if that motivates you.
and the
Because the
hard thing
numbers,
is the people are abstract. Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
numbers are like concrete. They are helping, it's not helping. But I didn't think about it like that. So that'd be a good way to look at numbers again.
yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't think about that before this episode either. So
Always working.
I don't know if is there anything else you want to talk about on this episode?
No, I think we're good. We can continue our conversation outside, TJ.
All right. Is there any commitment you want to make before the next episode? Is there any project you want to work on? I think personally for me, what I want to do is I want to try to hit that 7,000 word goal before the next episode, which would be 1,000 words a day.
I think I'm gonna do the same. That's a good goal to commit to because those articles are what keep the site growing. As long as you keep more articles, like if
Oh,
I keep going,
yeah. One quick question: do you find it easier to write 1,000 words or to edit? Like if you already have 1,000 words, to edit it around 500 words. So whether you delete 250 and you add 250, or if you add another 500, which one is easier for you?
it depends on the post. If I'm starting from scratch, it's easier to edit something I've had time to think on and let it just sink in and like have the article on there that I come back and I'm like, oh, here's an idea for it now.
Mhm.
But if I've already researched the topic a little bit, it's a lot easier just to start writing and get that out there.
Actually, that's a really good point. I was going to say editing. It's so much easier if I have 1,000 words already to just add more or remove some, fix some. But now that you mention it, when it came to the hydroponic article, it's like after I did all that experiment and that whole process, when I sat down to actually write about it, I had so many things to say. It just came out so easy. So yeah, that's a really good point.
And I don't know how, another thing is once this gets monetized, it's like really using someone else for a pillar of growth. So like I'll keep writing 1,000 each day, and then like that assistant will add more so that it's like it's doubling each time. So like she's writing 1,000 words or she's adding stuff to each post. Like I really want to put someone around here to also have quality with me so that it's like the growth goes from here to like here and just keeps going up like quicker.
Actually, you might find this really useful. I was listening to a podcast right before this episode, actually, and they were talking about almost everything you build is either in a constant upward spiral or in a constant downward spiral. So you're either helping it spiral upwards, or if you stop working on it, it's slowly spiraling downwards. Like the content you create is in 10 years not going to be as effective as what you created yesterday. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. Like you either have to keep updating it, keep adding to it, sharing your stories, examples, and stuff like that, or else it just keeps slowly downward spiral.
Yeah. But we're going to get to the top. People will rewatch these episodes and be like, look at them now.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's crazy when I think about the psychology blog of where it was in 2016 when I bought the domain and where it is now. Ahrefs added a feature where you can see year over year. So like 2000, you can see the graph of 2016, 2017, 2018. 2021, which was last year, was like way above all the other ones because I really started focusing on SEO in 2020. So it reflected in 2021. And now this year, up until August, it's like 3 times as big. So it's like again motivating to me in terms of numbers of like where that's going to be next year or in 5 years from now. So
Even
it's crazy.
even from 2020 to 2022 right now, it's 300K more. Like, oh, something we briefly talked about is also in the quality sector is adding content in languages that people might be more fluent in. So like after I do 50 articles on here, I'm going to also put 50 on with Spanish articles, because a lot of the people looking this up would also be Spanish, like English and Spanish. And I think we talked about you doing potentially or looking at it like different languages for like French, whatever the other countries are that you're most trafficked.
Yeah. So tell me real quick how you plan to do that. Do you plan to take the hard route and learn Spanish? Or is
No,
there an
you
easier
just
way?
hire someone to translate it.
I was going to say, or you can hire someone to translate it, which I guess would be even less work. And then the least amount of work would be like a plugin that automatically translates it. Obviously,
Yeah.
that you'd have to have someone maybe review that, because I feel like there would be some errors and transitions and stuff like that. But I guess that was the point I was making, was like there's a scale of how much work and how much time you want to put in for the content to be translated into a new language. And I was curious which route you were going to take.
I really need to, since the site's still really small, I should do a lot of research into site the URL linking, because when you do different languages, you want like your normal URL to be like /en/article, and then like Spanish like /es/article. So I don't know if I need to incorporate that now. I need to look at that this week.
I'm curious how that would reflect in a sitemap as well.
Because supposedly Google's really good at knowing if it has like that ES or EN, that it's not duplicate content, that it's just a different language.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if you did like 20 different languages, German, French, Italian, Spanish,
I wonder if you would really look like an authority site, like if you had it in different languages.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plugins out there that allow that translation service for you. That
WPUM is one, but I haven't looked into it a lot.
Maybe that'll be our homework for the next episode, is to look into that a little bit more and share what we found.
Yeah, that sounds good. But thank you guys for listening. Thanks for talking with me, TJ. Another 50-minute episode.
I learned some stuff. Good. Hopefully you've learned some stuff.
We did. It's just nice getting these ideas down and like knowing that you're moving forward. Like instead of just, I sit by myself all day doing this. So after a while, you're like, yep, another article.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the way with blogs, it's not like instant feedback. So even with YouTube, it's like you post the next video, and it's like the subscribers, you get the immediate like comments and stuff. But with blogs, it's not really like that.
Yeah, I've really had to curb my instant gratitude with this stuff.
Yeah.
It gets difficult. You just got to find new ways to have that instant gratitude within it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the instant gratitude is you publish the article. Like the gratification is the reward of doing the act now, instead of just being congratulated.
Yeah, outside forces.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I think it's time to hop off now. So.
Yeah. All right, and then I'll call you back in a minute, TJ.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
I don't think